Good day friends, Busha here with a new cheese recipe. Today we're going to make a Christmas cheese using this cooker called the Power XL, which allows you to cook and at the same time turn a lever to mix everything together. We're going to use that to help us achieve the stretching of the curd that we'll add in. We'll be using a curd that's ready to be stretched, similar to mozzarella. Here we are making adjustments. We're going to set it to the warm function, which allows us to maintain a temperature of about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 56 or 57 degrees Celsius. So now we're adding the curd. As I mentioned, this is a curd that's ready to be stretched, and it's sold here in the United States by companies that supply restaurants. This one is from the company BelGioioso and already has a pH of 5.7. Additionally, we're going to add some whey from a cheese we made the day before. That whey won't have a very low pH, so it won't be too acidic. We're also adding 17 grams of salt, which we've dissolved in the whey, and we've already added that to the container. And now what we're going to do is turn on the machine so it starts rotating. As I mentioned, we set it to spin fast, not slow. It will initially rotate in one specific direction and then smoothly switch to the completely opposite direction. I will diligently try not to cut out too many of the truly important parts or crucial details so you can clearly see the entire comprehensive process from beginning to end. So there it is working, and the good thing about this, as I mentioned, is that little by little it heats the whey to the temperature I told you about, and it will gradually start spinning the curd, which, as I said, is already ready to be spun. What it needs is a liquid at a certain temperature so it can start melting. Okay, some time has passed, about 5 or 10 minutes. Notice that a ball is already starting to form. You can also use your hands to gently assist in this process, carefully working the ingredients together to truly achieve a perfectly homogeneous and consistent mass. So, when you are ready, with your hands thoroughly cleaned and sanitized, you can carefully and deliberately lift the curd so that it begins to separate and drain, preparing it for the next crucial step in the cheese making process. You help with the spinning process. Let's say I think right now I'm carefully helping it along with my hand. I'll let the video continue running here so you don't miss any important details. I also deliberately covered it so the temperature would concentrate much better. Notice how it's progressively getting smoother and smoother each time. As I mentioned, I'm actively helping stretch it with my hand and sometimes even untangling it from the rapidly spinning tool. So you gently open it up like this with your hands to carefully keep making the dough much more uniform and consistent, and then you leave it there for a little bit longer so it can continue to rest and develop its texture, melting and making the dough more uniform. Cover it whenever you think it's necessary so that the temperature is well concentrated and it melts much better. Let's let it keep running there. Notice here I'm untangling it because it gets tangled, so you help it along with your hand so that the spinning tool, that lever, doesn't get stuck. Here I cover it, we leave it for a while so it can continue its process. Now it's looking much better. Look how beautiful that's turning out. So there will certainly come a specific moment when you'll clearly see it so perfectly uniform that you'll definitely want to take full advantage of a specialized tool to carefully press it down, and you'll be pressing it precisely right there, effectively making excellent use of the inherent heat it already possesses. The way there. I think I'll show it right now. So you can see how I start pressing it down right in the same container. We'll see in a moment. Okay, there I stopped so it wouldn't spin anymore. I'm removing the rotating tool. I'm going to carefully leave it there for a little while, allowing it to work its magic, and then I'll come back with this specialized tool that I specifically use for pressing. First, as I previously mentioned, I do it right here inside this particular pot, this sturdy pan, so that I can effectively press it down in the very same liquid which is maintained at this precise temperature that I thoughtfully mentioned to you earlier. There I go little by little, and then what I'm going to do is transfer the curd to a tray and press it there as well. Because here there are certain limitations, like the pin where the tool was, which doesn't let me press it down well, doesn't let me press it properly. However, I wanted to take advantage of the temperature of the whey, so I could press it while it's hot. There I go, little by little, trying to make the curd uniform so it becomes a single mass. It's looking really nice. I keep pressing it down. I'm going to let the video run for a bit here, and then I'll show you when I transfer it to the tray I have prepared next to me, a plastic tray. So you can see how I do it outside as well. With the disadvantage that the liquid won't be hot because the tray will be cold. So now I transfer it to the tray and I press it down there for a bit to keep integrating everything so it becomes a single mass. And what we are doing right now is to return the delicate curd to the pot with that liquid that is still hot. Notice that on the right hand side it shows that 22 minutes have passed in this process. So at this point I carefully bring the pot back again, gently put the creamy curd back in, and then leave it there for a little while, perhaps about 5 or even 10 full minutes, while all the necessary ingredients for meticulously preparing the delicious stuffed cheese are being thoroughly prepared. So here I can also securely put the lid on and just let it calmly sit and rest for a bit. As it slowly melts, the beautiful curd gets progressively softer and softer each and every time. You will definitely notice that the delightful curd becomes much more and more wonderfully pliable. So there, just take a good look at exactly how it is. It's truly beautiful, really exceptionally nice. And then, with careful movements, you start gently shaping it into a perfect rectangle, which is precisely what we're ultimately aiming for in the very end. A curd carefully shaped like a perfect rectangle so that it can be generously filled, much like a delicious ham loaf. However, in this particular instance, it is going to be a wonderfully rich and creamy cheese. It will be a smooth, delicate sheet of cheese that now, in the truly expert and skilled hands of my incredibly talented wife, will be meticulously finished with great care and precision. The perfect ideal shape, so that now the curdling process is completely finished. That beautiful creamy curd is absolutely ready. What we are going to do next is carefully and gently put it on the prepared tray I have right here next to me, meticulously remove it from the pot, which has already served its essential purpose and function, and then, with great care, I am going to precisely place the delicate curd into the lovely ceramic dish I have waiting over there. There, please take a good close look at this wonderful transformation. And now, at this moment, I hand things over to the capable and expert hands of my wife, Pamela, so she can use her trusty rolling pin in order to impart to it the perfectly ideal and desired shape. Notice how she goes about it with her expert hands, giving it, as I mentioned, a rectangular shape. And now she also carefully uses the rolling pin so that it takes on a much more refined and consistent shape, ensuring a perfect result. Completely rectangular shape, which will allow for the filling. Let's let her skilled, capable hands finish the entire task. How beautiful. I think she's using the rolling pin there. Exactly, she's going to finish it off with the rolling pin there. And now what you need to do is add whatever ingredients you like. Just like when you are preparing a delicious ham bread, here you're also going to make a wonderfully stuffed cheese. So, in this delightful creation, you can generously add savory olives, flavorful ham, crispy bacon, all those fantastic things, sweet raisins, or truly whatever delightful ingredients you personally like to use for the rich and satisfying filling. We also make sure to add a touch of fragrant oil infused with annatto here for that perfect golden hue and subtle flavor and flavoring, so it generously gives the cheese a truly intense and rich flavor to the cheese. There we're adding, as I mentioned, the annatto infused and flavored oil. And then we'll continue with the slices of ham with the expert hands, as I said, of my wife. I think I'm going to add 4 rows of ham. There's the first row, she's finishing it. Here comes the second one. So she can finish this one. Here goes the third. Okay, it's just going to be 3 rows of 3 or 4 slices of ham each. Now she's adding the raisins, giving it a good amount to give us that typical Venezuelan Christmas flavor of pan de jamón. And finally, she is going to add crispy bacon diagonally across the dish. She's about to carefully put them on the tray. There she is diligently bringing the delicious bacon, absolutely perfect. So she gently puts on the individual strips of bacon, and now she's going to meticulously start rolling it up. There she goes, little by little, rolling it up and making a sort of pan de jamón, like a Swiss roll, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, it's with, let's say, stretched curd cheese, Guyanese style. So there she finishes, carefully rolling it up, and then you absolutely have to securely wrap it in plastic wrap to place it in the refrigerator for about 2 to 3 full days so that the cheese firms up a bit. There we're wrapping it in plastic wrap. Well, there she's already wrapping it in plastic wrap. And as I was saying, it's going to stay in the fridge for about 2 or 3 days. Depending on what you see, it will get firmer each day. So that finally, if you're going to sell it, you can let the person know that, well, this is just like a ham bread. After the 2 or 3 days, you remove the beautiful wrapping paper and carefully cut it into delicate slices and then present it. It truly works perfectly for the festive Christmas season or for any other joyous kind of celebration. It absolutely doesn't have to be specifically Christmas flavors like this particular one. You could easily fill it with whatever delicious ingredients you personally like. It's just that right now, when we are currently filming this video, it's indeed the wonderful holiday season. So we enthusiastically took the opportune moment to make this delightful creation. Look how beautiful it looks. It's already cut into slices, and this is how it finally turns out. Well, I'll say goodbye now.